Now, we've seen anger, dismay and disillusionment, but tonight in York, the council budget could see a full-scale battle between warring parties. So close is that gap between the ruling Lib Dems and the Labour opposition that proposals to make £21 million of cuts could be thrown out, and that would probably be the first time. Well, our local government reporter Danny Hewson is outside the Guildhall for us now. Danny, lots of protests outside and in, I gather.
Absolutely, yes. York is used to its battles, isn't it? Well, the one going on inside the Guildhall tonight is over a budget, and it looks set to get very interesting. As you say, there is hardly anything in it between the Liberal Democrats, the ruling party, and the Labour Party. All of them want amendments to the budget, and it could be very difficult to get some kind of agreement. As you say, protesters out in force just over there behind me, everybody wanting to get their point of view across, and already we know they're not expecting agreement tonight, and they've tabled another meeting for tomorrow. Before the meeting started, I caught up with the leader of the Labour group and with the leader of the council.
Well, what we have is a situation where even if the biggest amendment goes through tonight, it's 99% the same budget. And it would be irresponsible for Labour councillors to stop a budget being set for this authority. It would be reckless, and it would put at risk the services that we provide.
Well, there's already been arranged by the leader of the council an additional meeting for tomorrow. So a budget will be set, and it will be set by the deadline of the 11th of March. But it won't be the budget tonight if Labour can actually put forward what we want, and it's up to him to agree to our terms.
So as they say, the deadline is the 11th of March. As you can see, quite a protest behind me, and I'm joined now by the leader of the York Stop the Cuts group. Why are people so passionate about this, Chris?
Because these cuts will really hurt. They're cutting real frontline services, cuts to support families with vulnerable children, they're cutting services to schools who are helping children with mental health problems, planning to raise the charges for care in people's own homes. Cuts to help for social workers and connection workers who help young people get into work. These are really going to hurt.
But these cuts are being felt right across the country. Why should York be immune to them?
Well, no one should have to suffer any cuts anywhere in the country. It's quite unnecessary. There's plenty of money in the economy. Taxes, the Civil Servants Union, for example, estimates that £120 billion worth of taxes are not collected each year, and that money could pay for services.
Well, they're certainly passionate. What would be a win for them tonight?
A win for us would be no cuts at all, and it doesn't stop here. We'll carry on fighting the cuts, and on March the 26th we'll be marching in London with the Trade Union Congress.
Are there any amendments that you would accept?
Well, I think when you look at the cuts, they all hurt, and therefore our position is there's no need for any cuts. The money's there, it should be used for the vulnerable and not to bail out the bankers.
OK, thank you very much for talking to us, Chris. As you can see, lots of passion here tonight. Passion also in Barnsley, where they've been campaigning to stop the loss of lollipop ladies, and Emma Blackburn reports.
Save our crossings!
The message was clear. Lose the lollipop ladies and you could lose lives.
It may be half term, but these families are on their way to school with one main aim.
Save our crossings!
Children are his future, and if they can't be safe going to a simple place like school, why do we send them?
Extremely important. With having 7 children as well, we need to keep them safe.
Save our crossing!
As the families marched towards their school, they stopped by the Pelican Crossing, which has put the patrol jobs at risk.
It's a really busy road, Biss. I know we've got an actual crossing, but the amount of cars what I've gone through on these lights, because we're not looking at the crossing, we're looking at the lights on Allett's Corner.
Barnsley Council says it has to consider the cuts because of pressures on its budget. It reviewed all 77 school crossing patrol sites within the borough and decided 32 sites weren't needed anymore. 3 of those sites had current lollipop ladies, and so they will have to go, making the council a total saving of £50,000. But the children here won't give up.
I think what we've done today is really going to help, and I'm sure that we're going to get this sorted.
A final decision will be made next month. Emma Blackburn, BBC Look North, Barnsley.
you can see, the protest is going to continue in York tonight. In Bradford, however, they've had their final council meeting and the budget went through smoothly. £30 million worth of cuts there next year alone. It's about 700 jobs. As I say, the meeting tonight in York, well, it could end at 10 o'clock and they could have agreement, but it's more likely to continue until tomorrow.
Danny, thank you very much. I'm sure you'll keep us up to date with what's happening there and indeed elsewhere in Yorkshire.